the 16 coasters of Six Flags Great America.
At number 16, we have Mardi Gras Hangover. This is a Larson loop. It's held the record as the largest Larson loop at 100 feet. A lot of coaster enthusiasts don't consider this a coaster. It's a flat ride.
Yeah, this was the first 100-footer, and when we rode it last year, it seems a little bit slower, like it didn't want to clear the loop. Just an extra 30 feet makes a big difference.
Yeah, and the reason that they don't consider this a coaster is because it doesn't coast.
Yeah, it's a flat ride. It's stationary.
Yeah. Now it's just Sprocket Rockets.
And at number 15, we have Sprocket Rockets. This was opened in 1998, originally called Spacely Sprocket Rocket. I don't think Six Flags has the right to the naming of Hanna-Barbera anymore.
No, that's why they took out all the Scooby-Doos as well.
Who is that?
That's owned by Hanna-Barbera.
Hanna-Barbera.
So, yeah, this is a fun little family coaster, little kid coaster. It's got some pretty good little airtime hills and some nice little bank turns on it. I rode this with my nephew a few years ago, and it's really a fun little ride. At number 14, we have Little Dipper. This is a Philadelphia toboggan coaster. Originally built in 1950 at Kittyland at Melrose Park in Illinois. In 2009, Six Flags bought this for $30,000 at an auction, and had it rebuilt here at Six Flags Great America for the 2010 season.
And I think this is the oldest ride in the park, and I don't know.
It is the oldest ride at the park, but it's not original to the park.
Yeah,
obviously, since it opened.
But it's still that great classic for Philadelphia Toboggan Company, and whenever we go there, there's always a long line for this ride. If you have little ones that want to ride this first.
Yeah, this is a great first coaster.
A training coaster for the little ones. And at number 13, we have the Wizard. It was one of my favorite rides at this park. Yeah, and what year was that?
It opened with the park in 1976. Originally, it was called Willard's Wizard.
Yeah.
Whenever the park was owned by Marriott, when Six Flags took over, they dropped the Willard's part out of it. It's a great. The lift hill is awesome, I think.
What year was that they was going to close it?
In 2002, they were going to close it and tear it down to build Superman Ultimate Flight in its place.
But it had a backlash from the public, and so that old saying, save the wizard and Shockwave was chopped liver. But this ride has a great night ride. I rode it a few times at night. It's very enjoyable, especially around the water over here at the bend, and it's a good ride.
This is actually a pretty comfortable ride.
A comfortable ride. Not really a children's ride, more like a family ride.
No, it's a family ride,
yeah.
Definitely. The trains are really unique because
classic Schwarzkopf, yeah.
It's kind of like a bobsled. You sit back to front. And this is a really great coaster for first dates. I mean, you get really close to the person that you're in the car with the bobsled style seating. But if you're a teenager, you're going to get to know your date really well, really fast.
Oh my god, I can't believe you said that.
And at number 12, we have the Dark Knight. Now, this is built by Mack. It's a wild mouse layout indoors. Usually, it's a little darker than this. You can't really see a whole lot that's going on. There are some pretty well lit areas, and there's some great theming with this ride as well. And it is a fun little coaster. Originally, there were 4 versions of this built. The one here at Great America, the one at Great Adventure, and one at Six Flags Mexico, which are still operating. The one at Six Flags New England was removed. At number 11, we have the Demon. This opened originally with the park in 1976 as Turn of the Century. In 1980, Aerodynamics came in and added the 2 vertical loops to it and changed the theming to the Demon.
I think this was the only coaster that has its own theme song, and it's definitely, you could tell it's from the 70s. This ride's a hit and miss. Sometime, I don't know why, it feels like your shoulders like hurt like crazy. The other time it's not so bad. Like Tom said, this is a good candidate for a soft shoulder harness. But I don't know. It's a hit and miss for me.
Yeah, like one time I rode it, it was really rough, and this time whenever I rode it in September around Halloween, it wasn't quite as bad.
And at number 10, we have the Joker, the 4D free spin. When it first opened in Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, it was okay. Now, Six Flags has too many clones of this. And the biggest complaint from the public is that it's too short in duration, about 45 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. This is not one of my favorite coasters. But what is kind of unique is this is one of Alan Schilke's designs. This is originally what he wanted to sell to Six Flags Magic Mountain whenever they asked for a new signature coaster.
But Magic Mountain wanted the X.
But they wanted something much bigger.
Yeah.
And so he designed X instead.
This reminds me of the Rockoplane from your childhood carnivals and state fair, where you spin relentless on a Ferris wheel.
And at number 9, we have Viper. Viper was opened in 1995 and was built in-house by Six Flags. It was also designed by Six Flags designers in-house as well. This is a mirrored clone of Cyclone at Coney Island in New York. This is a really fun ride. It's been a little rough the last few seasons when I've ridden it. If you catch it on a warm day, it's a little smoother. But it's still a great fun coaster. It's a beautiful coaster if you get to see it from above whenever you're riding Raging Bull.
When we first wrote this, I thought it was a GCI until we did research on the tour video. Surprised to know there was an in-park design. At number 8, we have American Eagle, the Parks Intamin dueling coaster, built in 1979. I think they still hold the record as a longest dueling coaster. I don't know. Is it still the tallest?
I don't think it's the tallest anymore.
But it's a great ride. Like traditional wood, this coaster runs better when the weather's warm, and for a coaster that's getting ready to turn 40 years old, this is still held up pretty well.
Yeah, the last time I rode this in September, it was really rough.
Well, yeah, it was cold.
It wasn't that cold. It wasn't that cold that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely showing its age.
Intamin does not make too many wooden coasters, but the one they do, it's pretty good. Such as El Toro and other coasters all over the world. For me, when we ride this, I mean, they rarely have two trains running. But Six Flags wants to classify it as two coasters, but it's one coaster, folks. It's just a dueling coaster.
And number 7, we have Vertical Velocity. This was built by Intamin. It's their impulse coaster. There are about 5 of these in North America. 2 at Six Flags parks and 3 at Cedar Fair parks. These are pretty fun. It's kind of a one-trick pony. It's just back and forth, but it's a great exhilarating ride with the launch.
I agree. For me, I prefer to sit in the back. I just like to see the height, the spire, the tallest point of the ride.
And number 6 is Superman Ultimate Flight. This was originally opened in 2003, and it's built by B&M. It's their flying coaster. These are not one of my most favorite models of B&Ms out there. For me, it's very uncomfortable, especially the pretzel loop. But otherwise, it's really not that bad of a ride. It's smooth. I will give it that. They are smooth, but most B&Ms are.
So, folks, when you ride this, just relax your body, especially when you dive head first in the pretzel loop. Your blood is rushing to your brain, and I noticed that if you don't, try to resist and hold yourself up, this ride can be enjoyable.
Well, I definitely prefer this one over Vekoma Flying Dutchman.
Oh, definitely. You should never lay your stomach shouldn't be higher than your head. Yeah.
Probably the best model of this that I've ridden is Manta down at SeaWorld Orlando. That's a really fun one. At number 5, we have Batman, the ride. This is the original, folks, the very first B&M invert ever built. It opened in 1992 and set the world ablaze. That's why they're so popular, and there's so many clones of this all over the world. We're lucky in Six Flags St. Louis, we have one of the 2 only mirrored clones for Batman. Instead of turning to the left at the top of the lift hill, we turn to the right. But these are great, and they pack a lot of elements in a short amount of space, and it's a very intense ride. Even though it's only a 50-mile-an-hour coaster, it really packs a wallop.
I agree with Tom. Like, there are other taller and longer versions, such as the Banshee. Those coasters, it seems like the elements are stretched out, and it takes some of the intensity away.
At number 4, we have X-Flight. This was built by B&M and opened in 2012. This is a really fun coaster. This is one of our favorites. We always ride this when we go up there. This is one of their earlier wing coaster models that they made in North America. From the first element here, this wing over dive loop is just incredible. It really sets the pace for the ride throughout.
It's intense. It's one of my favorite B&M coasters, and the only complaint about this ride is that it's just too short. It's only about 2,000 feet long, not like Gatekeeper, which is like 4,000 or 5,000 feet long. But it's an intense ride. They pack a lot of elements into a short ride.
I love that ride.
And number 3, we have Raging Bull, the park's B&M hyper coaster, built in 1999. I liked it, but the coaster enthusiasts say that this ride is forceless. But what I noticed, if you ride in the back, like a little bunny hop before, it feels like you're whipped before it dives. And it's I always love riding this when I go to the park.
Yeah, this is one of our favorite hypers out there.
It was It was my first hyper.
Yeah, it's our first hyper. This is a really, I think it's pretty intense. I know a lot of people say it's pretty forceless, but I really like this ride. It's 202 feet tall with that 208-foot drop. The first time that you see this, if you've never seen a hyper before,
it's intimidating. Yeah,
it's very intimidating.
And it's themed to same as the Chicago Bull, right?
Yeah, the Chicago Bulls. That's the logo on the front of the train. Oh my god. And at number 2, we have Max Force. Now this is a brand new ride. It's opening in 2019 and it's built by S&S Worldwide. This is going to be the fastest air-launched coaster in North America, as well as the fastest inversion at 60 miles an hour.
And at number 1, we have Goliath, the park's RMC coaster built in 2014. When it opened in 2014, it held the record as the tallest and fastest wooden coaster.
And the steepest drop.
The steepest drop, yeah. Folks, you're right. This thing is intense, especially the 0G stall. So if you go to this park, make sure you go to this first, because the line can be long.
So this was the second ground-up construction that RMC did of a coaster, a wooden coaster. The first one being Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City. For 2020, they're doing another ground-up construction in Poland at Energylandia.
It's an iBox, right?
And it's going to be the iBox track. So that's the first iBox track coaster from the ground up that they've done. So folks, this is Tom.
This is T.
From Show Me Coasters. That's going to do it for our look at Six Flags Great America
Coaster Collections.
So we hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll see you the next time.
Have a good night.